Hola. Muchas gracias. I'm going to speak English. It will be better. I really want to thank Festival Antigua, especially Ernesto Villa and Pauline Carespa, and of course Andrea, who's out running around working very hard. This is an amazing festival. It's really cool. It's amazing to stand here and look off and see volcanoes, but it's also a classy festival, and I've really enjoyed it. So congratulations, and thank you for having me. I also want to thank CG Armada, Lucy Cifuentes, and Mauricio Macal for sponsoring me to be here. It's a great honor to be in Guatemala. I've never been here, and it's been amazing. We've been here 5 days, and I'm blown away. I will say good things only when I go back home. So what is the white square? I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out as we go. How many of you feel that you are in what you would call a creative job? That your job in general is a creative job? Like half, a third? Okay. How many of you in those jobs or any job feel like you're allowed to be creative? Okay, sometimes it would be less. I mean, the whole point of this talk is that I'm going to talk about the nature of creativity. And I can't define it. I'm not here. I don't even have a PowerPoint. I don't have any power, and I don't even know if I have a point. Maybe by the end of the time, I'll figure it out. But the thing is, it's like in all of the work I've done, for some reason, I've been drawn to creative individuals, whether they're in rock bands or graffiti writers or in advertising or whatever, and I've been trying to figure out over the course of my life what is in common with this creative process. Because people always talk about creativity. They're like, be creative. Like, just be creative, as if it's this act, as if it's this thing, suddenly you're creative. And so I'm not going to try to define it. Oh, well, I will try to define it, but we'll sort of work together and see if we can kind of figure out what some of the common things are when we engage in creativity that is great. I'm not interested in talking about bad creativity or bad advertising or things that we just are not inspired by. I'm only interested today in things that truly inspire us. So the first thing I'm going to do is tell you that when I made this film called Art and Copy, and it was about many of the legends of advertising in the United States. And these were people like Dan Wieden and David Kennedy of Wieden Kennedy, Goodby and Silverstein, George Lois, who did the MTV launch campaigns, and Tommy Hilfiger. And I'll be showing you clips from my movies about some of this stuff. People like Mary Wells, who in the 1960s and 70s did an incredible, was very creative and did a lot of amazing advertising. And all I've tried to do is when I made the movie, I kept asking them, what did you do? How did you do these brilliant campaigns? What was it? What was going on in your head? What were you, what was it about your work that was so, what was in common between all these different people? And so that's what I'm going to do today, is we'll sort of talk about all the things that I've noticed. I'm not an expert. I'm a filmmaker. All I do is ask questions and meet all these people. But maybe I can sort of we can figure out a little bit about what this creativity thing is. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to show you, I want to step back from advertising. I know this is an advertising conference, but I really want to just step back for a second and just watch a few things. I'm going to play a bunch of clips today. Very few of them are even ads, but they're just little clips from films. The first one is from a movie I'm making right now. And I won't say anything about it except that I'm filming it now, next week, 2 weeks ago, things like that. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to guess that most of you, when you first see him walking on that wire, your first thought is, what? He's totally crazy. He has a death wish. He's out of his mind. He's stupid. He just gets up there and does this thing, right? Meeting Dean Potter and working with him a little bit, this is a new movie, so I'm just getting to know him. I have come to the conclusion that he's not crazy at all. That like a lot of creative, brilliant campaigns, a lot of like creative thinkers, almost always, and this is true of almost every single person who I profiled in Art and Copy, almost always, the first reaction to what they're doing is they're crazy. So if you're going to really think creatively, that's the first thing you need to get used to is everyone's going to think you're crazy. Because if it's really good, if it's really worthwhile, it's probably crazy. The other thing that I think is important to notice about Dean Potter is that what he does is so interesting to me. We think he's crazy because, oh, he doesn't care about safety. It's the opposite. He cares more about safety than everybody in this room combined. He works every single day going 1 inch at a time. He doesn't just put the rope out and just start walking. He goes like this on the first day, and then he sits back and he looks at it for a couple days. And then he goes another inch. You know, years and years and years of incremental, tiny steps so that he owns it, so that he understands it. And the relationship between this and advertising is that a client, it's sort of like knowing your client really, really, really well allows you to be creative, to take risks, to do things you wouldn't otherwise do because you understand what's going on. He really believes in safety. He really is afraid of dying. He is. He's human. He really doesn't want to fall. But he so masters this with so much intelligence and athleticism that I find that really remarkable. And so the lesson is that, yes, we must take risk, and second of all, that it's not easy. You don't just do it. Creativity isn't something, it's not impulsive. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's from years of work. It's like a painter like Jackson Pollock or a watercolor painter who just gets up and just goes, shoo, and you walk away and you go like, that's not art. It took him 1 second to do that painting. Yeah, but he's been thinking about art for 25 years. He's like, it's what's up here is what matters. It's his understanding of everything, that's what matters. So don't think that creativity is just this like instant, impulsive, like, yeah, whatever. It is, yes, I already said it. Okay, so the next clip I will say nothing about as well.